I wanted to slam Nick Wright today. And that's because I just feel in my heart of hearts that he has a lot of real ill will and vitriol towards the Denver Broncos. And this isn't just because, like, oh, well, that's my team, so I feel a way. I think it shows in the way that he talks about them, where it's so easy to slam him. Like he said today, Denver was sixth, the ESPN rated Denver sixth team, and he's like, look, that's just completely preposterous. And I'm like, why? Everybody, it's at this point, it's not just my opinion, it is a top 3 acknowledged offensive line. Some places have it rated 1. It is an acknowledged top 2 or top 3 defense. Top 3, top 2, and a lot of people even tell you it's the best defense going into the season. So, 16 of my 22 starters are considered elite as far as units, groups, talent, however you want to phrase that. So if that's the case, and then he said they have no people on offense you're scared of, I'm going to take a cheap shot. Ask Trent McDuffie what it's like to guard Courtland Sutton, because I watched it and he got torched twice. Marvin Mims is a 2-time All-Pro. I understand this is a returner, but we've seen big catches against Cincinnati. Troy Franklin, who they got, like RJ Harvey, the second running back, who most people acknowledge. Even if you don't love them, just say it's Courtland Sutton and a bunch of guys. Cool. Courtland Sutton, who maybe has the best, if this was a Madden game, potentially is one of the few guys like him, Jefferson Chase, 99 spectacular catch. Courtland had a great year with Russell, who we all acknowledged, wasn't very good, with Denver. So 16 of my 22, I have a notable receiver. I have Evan Ingram, who's been a Pro Bowl tight end. And I have a quarterback that, just because you guys want to throw Mac Jones on him, that's what's going to make them, is that not one of the higher end teams in the league? And he's like, well, it's preposterous having them above like the Rams or the Commanders or the Chargers. Like, really? Again, the Chargers, whose best players are on the back end, Derwin James, Khalil Mack. Now, love their 2 offensive tackles. Well, I don't really love them. I don't really care for anything for the Chargers, but 2 great offensive tackles. And a rookie running back. Same way Denver's got a rookie running back. Like, it was weird. It just feels over the top hate. And don't get me wrong, Nick, if you ever see my tweet and want to accept it, I would love to come debate you about how wrong I believe you are about the Denver Broncos. And I could do it factually. I could do it correctly. I don't have to scream. I don't have to yell. I could just break down how wrong you are about Denver. If you ever see this. Who knows? But then I also started to think, there was another headline, and this is, why would he say that shit? Favorite part of the show. But I wanted to take it in a different direction today. Because this is a why would he say that? But then I think I was convinced. Not convinced is the wrong word. Let's explain why he would say that. So there's been all these top 10 quarterback lists. It's that point in the NFL season, a few months out, where everyone is ranking everything. Who's got the best receivers, who's got the best tight ends, offensive line, defensive, secondary, all that shit, right? Everybody's getting ranked. And one of the more polarizing ones have been quarterback. And the most polarizing with conversation has been Jalen Hurts. Is he top 5? Is he top 10? Is he outside the top 10? There's been all these different opinions. And Cam Newton came out and said, look, man, he's not a top 10 quarterback. They're paying you and they are game planning you to not lose the game, not to win the game. And Cam obviously came out last year and was very big on this. Some people are game changers, some people are game managers. And that also got a lot of controversy and opinions. But I wanted to use this moment, a little slight twist on the segment, to defend Cam Newton. I don't think because of the way that, and I can't wait for Friday's show because I have a really cool first segment Friday I've been working on for a while. And it's how social media and this super quick, everything's got to be perfect or you're a failure type of media criticism has reflected. I don't think people understand who Cam Newton is and or was, I guess is a better way to phrase it. Cam Newton at Auburn. Mind you, Cam Newton at Auburn might be the best college football quarterback ever. I get it. It's a singular season versus guys who have full careers like Tebow. But that year of Cam Newton, he ran through the SEC on an Auburn team that was not good the year prior and had no NFL offensive draft picks. No other Pro Bowlers, no other starters, nobody who was even drafted or played in the NFL on offense. Think about that. Nick Fairley was there that year as well, so obviously they had some guys on defense. And Cam was running people over. Cam was a one-man offense unto himself. Then Cam gets to the NFL, and his first 2 games, 400 yards passing each game. Now, oddly enough, never got back to 400, but neither here nor there. Cam became an NFL MVP and took the Carolina Panthers, a franchise that is not it's not the Cowboys or the Packers, or it's not, what the Steelers used to be, or even a modern day version of the Ravens or Chiefs or Bills. It was not this glamorous franchise, not this powerhouse of an organization where it was like, oh, clearly we expect them to win. We clearly expect them to succeed. And during that MVP season, in which the Carolina Panthers went 15-1, Cam set all these records, 35 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns. He was throwing to guys like Ted Ginn Jr. Respect to Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen was on that team. But it was, obviously in the NFL, everyone is a high-level athlete. And I don't want to take that away from anybody that I'm about to mention. But he didn't have great receivers. He didn't have a great offensive line. He had good running backs. He had Jonathan Stewart. But that Carolina Panthers team, if you really want to go look at it, you could make a really strong argument between Luke Kuechly on defense, who's obviously a monster, one of the greatest linebackers you've ever seen, and Cam Newton's MVP season, which is in this, for an NBA term, is very Allen Iverson, what he did in 2000, that MVP, and then winning game 1 against the Lakers. Like, if they don't run into an all-time defense in the no-fly zone in Denver, what is Cam? How do we remember Cam and view Cam if he's 18-1 and wins a Super Bowl? And Cam was superhuman as an athlete and superhuman at that time as a quarterback. And I think that's where a lot of his frustration comes from. And I'm defending him here. This is not to be critical of Cam. He's looking around at everybody else and going, if you put me on that Eagles team, do you know what I would do? Do you know if Cam Newton was on those 49ers teams that lost to Mahomes instead of Purdy or Garoppolo? I don't think those games are close. Cam maybe had to do more heavy lifting as an individual player and or quarterback than almost anyone in the history of the NFL. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. This is just a fact. Just really in terms of football. Again, Auburn, Player of the Year, Heisman, national champion. Not a single player on offense was drafted. Carolina, his best receiver was Ted Ginn Jr. and his tight end Greg Olsen. He is very well aware. He's just looking around, and I think all athletes and anyone who achieves any level of true greatness does this. You kind of look around and compare, and you go, what would I be if I had that guy's situation? What would I be if I had that guy's situation? Remember when we talked about Tracy McGrady and Kobe, and I thought this was ridiculous, and T-Mac said, what if I was in that situation with Shaq, and I could have done what Kobe did, we could have won titles, blah, blah. Now, I thought that was ridiculous because Kobe Bryant is better than Tracy McGrady. Respect to both. Why are we not evaluating Cam's just looking around and going, I know at the peak of my powers, I was better than 99% of the guys I see walking around. Cam probably feels, and has justification to this, you take out Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, Josh Allen, that's probably where the list stops. And even then, he might even contend with someone like Josh Allen. Stylistically, they're pretty similar. I'm as good as any of you. And if I had your rosters, your coaches, again, that team went to the Super Bowl, Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is a great guy. I don't know if Ron Rivera is a great head coach. Ron Rivera had never had success outside of peak Cam Newton at the top of his powers. So I don't have a great head coach. I have one truly standout guy on defense. I've got Greg Olsen, we're going to say standout guy at tight end, cool. And I am carrying an NFL franchise 15-1, 17-1 at that point, all the way to the Super Bowl. And then, by the way, I already did this in college. So yeah, you might say it's disrespectful. I know Ryan Clark said that was disrespectful for what he said about Jalen Hurts. And this is why we have to have more metrics of measuring greatness, whether or not you just won a Super Bowl. Because I like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is in my top 10. I think Jalen Hurts has a really strong argument. I think there's a valid case to be made if you want to actually have the conversation of putting Jalen Hurts at 5. I think I have him at 6. But just because he won a Super Bowl, if we're just doing peak for peak, top of their game, obviously it looks like Hurts is going to end up having a longer career than Cam did. I'm not taking Jalen Hurts over peak of his powers Cam Newton, and that's why Cam gets frustrated. And that's why when Cam's calling him game managers, or, hey, you're not asked to do this, that's because that's all he ever knew. So when it was over for him, and it feels like this super high peak, but then immediately crashes down, it feels like that because Cam was forced to do way more potentially than almost any other quarterback in NFL history. I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.